Do you suffer from stress, anxiety, or depression? Do you find it hard to focus or to contain your emotions? Any of these things can take you down. So, what then are your personal health practices? If you don't yet have an integral or holistic wellness practice, you're in the right place. Podcast host Susan Axelrod, the confidence coach, has been practicing holistic wellness for 25 years. Along the way, Qigong and Tai Chi found her. After tiptoeing in, she dove into a committed practice and became a teacher and integral wellness consultant. She'll tell you Qigong and Tai Chi changed her life. In this podcast, she interviews practitioners, inviting them to share their stories about how these practices changed their lives too. Go grab your journal. At the top of the clean page, write down, "I want to feel better." Then take a breath and tune in to see if Qigong and Tai Chi can help. Well, as always, friends, I'm here to say Qigong and Tai Chi can help. And that's really part of the conversation today. I decided to roll out a special series inside my podcast series. We did an amazing panel discussion with 5 master teachers. I'll tag that in the notes here. And I have asked each teacher if they would be willing to come here personally and share their own personal go-to in Qigong. Qigong is such a massive opportunity for healing and, mindful commitment to your own personal Qi way. And I often wonder, what do the master teachers do for their own peace of mind? So today I have my friend, Dr. Oley Smith. Oley is a certified senior and integral trainer with the Institute of Integral Qigong and Tai Chi, and a master teacher in the Liu family lineage of medical Qigong with the Lingui International Healing Qigong School. He received his doctorate in acupuncture and herbal medicine from the Taoist Traditions College of Chinese Medical Arts and has been practicing classical Chinese medicine in Durango, Colorado since 2005. He regularly leads classes and workshops focused on Qigong and Tai Chi. Hello, my friend. Good to see you.
Hello. Great to be here.
So once again, I did forget to ask you if I, with respect, pronounced the schools correctly.
Close enough. Yeah, it's the Liu family lineage of medical Qigong, and the school, it's the Lingui International Healing Qigong School. Ling, which kind of means spiritual or soul, and Gui is a turtle, actually. So it's the spiritual turtle lineage of Qigong.
Oh, well, there's some symbolism in there, but we're not going to get into that today, but perhaps in the future. But thank you. I respect the traditions. I respect the masters and the titles. And so I really wanted to just discuss that. So thank you for that correction. I forgot to do that in advance. I wanted to make sure I did that on air. Okay, well, here we are again. You have become a regular on this podcast series. You did the 4 practice sessions inside the 4 Qigong baskets. I share them all the time with people. They're well viewed, and I really love them. Each one I've shared with my own brand new Qigong class when I introduced the new basket. So I want to say thank you so much for being willing to come and share your time. It's very meaningful. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much.
The big question is this: when you perhaps might be stressed or stretched or distressed or challenged, what is your go-to Qigong? What do you do?
Well, I think my go-to is really quite simple. It's what we refer to at the IIQTC as the 3 treasures. And that's pretty much it. And for those who don't know, the 3 treasures, the 3 treasures in the Qigong context are Jing, Qi, and Shen. which can be translated many different ways. But again, within this context of Qigong practice, we typically translate them as the body, the breath, and the mind. And so bringing awareness to these three treasures. And one of the reasons why I think of this as my go-to is because when we bring awareness to our body and our breath and our minds, we're not trying to change anything about our body or our breath or our minds. We are just bringing awareness to them. And I think that sometimes when we're distressed and uncomfortable and any of those things, there is a tendency to want to get away from what's happening. There's a tendency for a desire even for things to be different than how they are. And so that can often then just lead to more distress because we're trying to get away from something, but that something is what is. And even if we're successful in getting away from it, where we get to might then again be not where we want to be. And so it becomes this endless cycle. And so to be able to really pause and then bring awareness to our body, our breath, and our minds in whatever is happening, it gives us a chance to pause, to be with what is, and start from there. And even with that space, I think there's there's room to notice, and maybe even why we're distressed or why we want to get away from what is, that may be based on a perspective that is actually incorrect. And so by taking a pause and just attuning to where we are and how things are without knowing anything about it, without having judgments, without knowing how things should be, or what would be better than what's happening now, or what should I be doing with my breath, how should I be moving, how should I be thinking, none of that, just attending to what is as it is with a little bit of space. That may even give us the opportunity to say, oh, I'm thinking that this is what's happening, but that's not even actually what's going on. And then suddenly things shift. So I think just something as simple as that is really my go-to.
So we're talking about raising awareness from the stress to what you literally just said, which was you were thinking something was a certain way, but in the pause, in the space, you say you created space in the being with what is, you can bring things get ratcheted up and then you can bring it down. And I like this space of no judgment or comparing to the better, always wanting something to be better. You said to try to get away from something or to change something. I love this, basically bringing it in. So I'm here to say this works. This is definitely one of my own go-tos as well. I'm not as tuned into the language of Jing, Qi, Shen because I'm still newer in this, and I'm tuned into the mind, the body, and the breath. And I start with my mind to begin to just bring it in. So I really do love this idea, especially the pause. There's power in that, isn't there?
Absolutely. And again, to really emphasize that it's not about changing what is, and it's not about getting away from what is. It's really about being with what is, and sometimes even turning towards what's uncomfortable, turning towards what's distressing, to be with it, to allow it. And again, this is one of the things that we often will say as teachers, as we're leading a class or working with someone and just helping them to attune to the three treasures. If we're noticing our body and our alignment within gravity, it's not about changing that alignment at all. It's beginning by just seeing, how does it feel? Not doing anything about it. Or if we're bringing our awareness to our breath, noticing, how am I breathing? And it's not, well, I should be breathing deeper, or I should be breathing slower or into my belly. None of that. It begins with just, how am I breathing? And maybe my breath is shallow, but I am aware that my breath is shallow. I'm aware that my breath is short. And even with the mind, of noticing, well, what am I focusing on? What is my mind interested in right now? What is it focused on? And let me just even notice that, because we might not be noticing that. And that, again, may be why we're feeling distressed. And so just that's one of the things that always amazes me, is that just by bringing some attention and attunement to those three treasures, that may be enough to allow them to shift and change. And that's, I think, one of the other things that the pause allows for, is that we notice how these three treasures, and we as individuals and the environment around us, is constantly changing. It's never static. It's never the same thing. And so even that, if I'm so distressed, and a lot of times our minds may go to a place of, I'm distressed, this is how it is, this is how it will always be. And that just leads to more distress, which is actually not true, because we know that things are constantly changing. We know that impermanence is a constant. Like, the only constant is change, the old paradoxical saying that rings true. And so by taking a pause and taking a breath and just seeing what's going on, and then suddenly there's space that, yeah, if this is uncomfortable right now, yeah, that is how it is. And also we know that it will eventually change one way or the other.
I mean, I feel this through my body, because in my old type A days, I had these very concrete, black and white thoughts of, it will always be this way. It will never be able to change. And this is just the way it is. That expression, I can't stand it, is what it is not at all really true. Because as you are helping us to understand, if you simply tune in, you said, attend to the three treasures, to notice what's happening, you already are bringing in the breathing, because you really can't notice without, a little bit of coming in. You're bringing in another basket, and one of the baskets, and just breaking up that solidness, the solidness of the anxiety or whatever difficulty, depression. It's like you're really helping us to understand that bringing this awareness, it creates even space. You can see it's like, that solid block. Mm-hmm. And that's where a lot of people are. And that's why we're doing this. That's why we're having this conversation. You said the other night, you said that in that video, you made a comment, which two other people have already commented to me. Where do you think is better? Wherever you're going to, there you are, basically, that old book title, So that's really what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yes. And again, to really emphasize, and especially nowadays with so much, struggle and tumult in the world, and valid reasons for concern, absolutely. But that's where I guess I don't want to encourage people to say, oh, are you distressed? Then just step away from everything and do some Qigong and spiritually bypass all that's going on so that you can feel okay and forget about what's happening. That's not what Qigong really is about. And all of these contemplative practices are not about getting away from how things are. It's about being able to be with what is, and to see things clearly, and to remain calm and centered and stable within all that's going on. Because how else will we be able to be with it? How else will we be able to be present and affect positive change if we are avoiding what's there and just denying it and saying that, oh no, I'm operating on a different level where none of this actually exists. I mean, that's one of the things, in the symbol, the Tai Chi symbol, the yin and the yang symbol, one of the lessons within that symbol is that everything is included. There's nothing that's left out. And so that's the pleasant and the unpleasant, and they're both the same. They both come from the same place. And so even where is it that you're hoping to get to, if not here? where else will you be? And so again, just to really, I'm kind of hammering on that point, because again, I do feel like it's easy within these traditions or within these practices to use them as an escape, and that's not what they are.
So then I guess I'm wondering, are we really invoking interoception here? Because basically, where else are you hoping to get to? Where else will you be? But rather to be in the body, feeling what you're feeling. You said it's not about getting away from it. It's not about escaping it or bypassing it, but rather, this is kind of my language, being in charge of you, being in it, and eventually being okay right there.
Yes, ideally, eventually, and also we also have to recognize, different people have different capacities as well, and so, recognizing that you're in a situation that may be making you feel overwhelmed. So yeah, acknowledging the overwhelm and feeling how that feels in your body, and even with that pause, that may help you to then get clear on, rather than reacting and kind of continuing to spiral or continuing to escalate the situation, being able to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. I think I need to stop what's happening, whether that's this conversation or this interaction or whatever it is that I'm doing. And I need to step away so that I can gather myself. And if we're able to do that on a regular basis, part of the thing that happens, because we're not running away from it, we're not necessarily diving into something that's beyond our capacity, but we're able to meet it and acknowledge it, that does lead to an increase in capacity. So that over time, we might feel like, okay, in this moment, I'm recognizing I'm feeling overwhelmed, and maybe that causes me to take a breath, to express a need. And maybe at one point where I needed to then just step out of the conversation for a while and then come back to it, maybe just acknowledging it is enough. And that has created that stability so that I could remain in this uncomfortable situation. And rather than, again, going over the edge, kind of stay at an edge state without being pushed beyond it.
Right. Sometimes people ask me, how are you doing this? Like, how do you do this? Like, how are you doing this? How do you stay sane? How do you stay calm? Which is ironic. First of all, I'm a fire through and through. I'm a little bit, I'm out there. But Qigong has helped me. I started in a more generic energy world with a therapist before, and then Qigong brought it all together for me, kind of helped me to synthesize, to integrate and synthesize to the point that people say to me, like, how are you doing that? And what you're sharing with us today is the answer to how are you kind of doing this? Things could be falling apart. There's no better place to go, as you told us. And that this practice of stopping, because you're tuning into how you're feeling. We always say, notice how you feel. You're tuning into how you're feeling. And the minute you are in control of tuning in, then you have this tool of the three treasures to take that pause, stop, gather yourself, notice, come into attunement and notice these things, bringing awareness to it and being able to stay in your body, right? Like, instead of, sometimes we're co-opted out of our body. And that's why I said, did I use interoception in the right way there?
Oh, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that the process of the three treasures and attuning is really one and the same, or the three treasures is the pause. And also, whether we're still, whether we're moving, all of that is all of Qigong practice is the three treasures. That's what I like to say in my classes. It's the beginning, it's the middle, it's the end. It's all
Yep.
of that. And often we'll start in stillness to bring our awareness to the three treasures because that's where it's easiest to track them. And then we start to introduce these movements, these Qigong forms or these Tai Chi forms that challenge our ability to stay present with our body and our breath and our mind. Like one of my teachers, she has a great phrase where, we start in stillness and then we start to introduce a little bit of drama. And the drama is having to move and having to remember this sequence and having to link the breath with the movement and harmonize all of that. Like it's hard. It's drama. But we're learning how to stay calm and stay present with it. And if we make a mistake, to notice and to also let go and to be able to keep going. Like that is the practice of Qigong, so that then when we're done with our official practice and we go out into the world, that then becomes our practice. Can we remain present with our body and our breath and our mind when we're just living our lives, so that everyday life is practice?
Right.
We are constantly cultivating, whether we're aware of it or not. And so if we're cultivating, whether we're aware of it or we're not, then why not be aware of it? Like that's what I feel. It's like, what other option do we have then? Because it's going to happen either way. So,
right.
So might as well make it a conscious practice.
Right. Yeah, make it a conscious practice. It's funny that the drama you talked about, which is the movement, syncing up the breath with the movement, remembering all the forms or whatever, is a lot different from the drama that we have in our lives, sometimes invite into our lives. There's something does come up in this, Oley, whereby basically you're not in charge of the other person who may not know this, who may not be able to be in this. And that, that might happen. But if we're in this is the way it feels to me. If we're in this, the way, as you describe it, you're emitting energy that's more like this. My hands are coming down. It's more settled. It's more quiet. It's calm. Some people will be listening to this, not watching. So my hands are settling. And then the other person can ratchet up all they want. But basically, we're more in charge of ourselves, right?
I would think so. Yeah, that we would be able to be less reactive, more responsive. And also, again, kind of going back to the yin yang symbol, the Tai Chi symbol, everything is in relationship with everything else. And so if we're in a situation with another person, there's a relationship that's going on. And if one of the people is dysregulated, it can go both ways, right? Like a dysregulated person can pull a regulated person into dysregulation, and it can also go the other way. Like one of the things that we know from just our scientific explorations of how energy works, or how, and by energy, I mean anything. We can be talking about water currents, electrical currents, wind currents, whatever. But we know that fields are overridden by stronger, more organized fields. And so if we have a very clear and strongly organized field within our system, a breath field, a body field, a mind field, and there's a less organized field that we're encountering, we can help to basically bring that into a greater state of organization and strength and coherence. Like that's just, those are facts that have been demonstrated over and over again. Whether or not that field is healthy or pathological, that depends on the situation. But that's why then the onus is on us to, let's create healthy, not pathological fields within ourselves, so that when we're confronted by fields that are not, we can be able to interface and maybe be able to bring regulation into a dysregulated system. And there's a great word also that goes along, well, not necessarily going along with interoception, but just building on the vocabulary. There's a wonderful word called hormesis. And hormesis is when, we introduce a manageable kind of stress to our system, it helps the system to get stronger. It helps to build capacity. So for instance, exercising, resistance, weight training is a form of hormesis. It's a challenge to your system. It's a kind of stress to your system, but it helps to build capacity in the system. Breath work, and maybe holding the breath at the top or the bottom of the inhale and the exhale, that's hormesis. It's a stress, but it's manageable, and it can help to build our capacity to breathe. And so again, in ways that are manageable in the beginning, we can bear witness to challenging situations in our world, rather than saying, like, I can't look at this, I can't acknowledge this tragedy that's going on because it's too much for my system. That's fair. But if there's something that you can handle and be able to just be with that and feel the discomfort that it brings up in the body and the sensations of perhaps injustice, or that there's something wrong with this, to be able to sit with that without needing to know what needs to be done or to do anything about it, but to be able to be with it is a form of hormesis, where it then increases our capacity to be in the presence of uncomfortable and maybe even, again, unjust situations without losing ourselves, and to be able to see clearly and to be able to then offer help to the situation. And yeah, I mean, that's what we need more and more.
More and more. I love this. I really want to call people into attention here. There may be material here that is unfamiliar to you, and you may be checking out. And I'm saying, come back, come in. I want to invite people to rewind, listen a few times to see if you can begin to grow a muscle to understand what we're talking about here. You talked about the example of the breath with hormesis. It's funny now because I have such a long exhale. If even in my class, I have to shorten my exhale because they're in more shallow breathing, maybe, right? And so I've practiced this, and I have a long inhale and such a long exhale, a practiced exhale to support my system, to slow everything down, to, so that's a perfect example, because when I started this, I'm like the queen of shallow breathing. And so introducing manageable stress to the system actually builds the system to be able to grow the muscle to deal with manageable stress, to deal with stress. I loved the examples that you use. It's timely, it's relevant, it's kind of timeless. And I hope that people really will tune in here, really will replay this episode, listen carefully, just open your mind and be curious to ask yourselves, is this possible? Because we're here to say, yes, it's possible.
Yeah, and just in these last little moments to really just, encourage people to give yourself more credit than you might give yourself. Our organism, our systems are designed to actually, they function best when under a little bit of stress. The human body functions better when we're a little bit hungry, when we're a little bit cold, when we're a little bit challenged cognitively. Like, this is what the science has shown. And this is part of the reasons where a lot of our modern pathologies come from having things too easy, of being too full and being too rested and being too comfortable. And a little bit of discomfort is actually the best thing for us. And it can help us to wake up and to be that much more effective and efficient in just being human beings.
Wow. This has not been a part of, I'm trying to think, I'm speaking slowly, I'm looking around. I wonder if this has been a part of my teaching that I didn't tune into, or if this idea that you just introduced is new to me. But this is the way I live my life. I'm always a little hungry, a little cold, a little stressed, and a little uncomfortable. If I'm out in the early morning, it's freezing with the dog, you got to do these things, or whatever it is. And so, yeah, that was a great way to close this conversation, that that in this day and age, when we have every creature comfort, it may not be exactly what we need. We might just need to be a little bit uncomfortable, to push yourself a little bit. And the three treasures offers the opportunity to notice what this experience is. So, Oley, once again, I really am not kidding. I always say this, and it really is true. I listen to these episodes over and over. They are great teachings of our time. I want to say thank you so much. And as you know, if there's anything you ever want to talk about, just let me know and we'll come back to this space, because these are like mini master classes. So where can people find you, Oley?
Well, my website is openheartacupuncture.com. And so I think that's the best way to get in touch with me, or to see what's going on, to sign up for the email list, to get links to the weekly Qigong class that I lead, or any other Qigong Tai Chi workshops that might be upcoming.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you for this. And I'm already looking forward to next time, even though we don't have it on the books. It's likely we will in the near future.
Wonderful. Yeah, that sounds
Thank
great
you
too.
so much. All right. I'll see you soon.
Bye.